law-breaking, law-unabiding lifestyle. Glad that he's not a woman, because if Thelonious were a woman, that's my car. If my car were a woman, she would be complaining the whole time that we're driving. But Thelonious complains for 90 seconds. He says the same thing for 90 seconds. He stops. He goes silent because he understands she's not changing. But if my car were a woman, she wouldn't understand reality. She would keep insisting that things change that will never change. Like our capitalist society. Speaking of women, anytime that you say something that somebody finds disagreeable, it's far easier to just accuse them of something. It's far easier to call them something like a misogynist. Wouldn't you say that the real misogynists are the ones that advocate for women ripping out their offspring? Because if you think about it, your offspring is an extension of yourself. So it's kind of like saying you should kill yourself, but you know, that tiny part of you that's growing and developing inside of you, because you're reckless and irresponsible and you don't really think things through. Yes, you should kill that part of yourself. You know? You should destroy anything that you don't enjoy. You should destroy it. Don't think nothing of it. You should destroy what you can't see yourself ever getting around to enjoy. You know, I know people that they never thought that they would be parents, but you know, they said it's the best thing that ever happened to them. Not everybody though. And I'm sure that there are plenty of people that wish that they hadn't had kids. They wish they could let them go, let them go, let them go, let them go. They probably already have in a way. Because your kids definitely know. And I was talking to this friend of mine at church today about how reckless we are as a society. love is never anything that they'll know anything of. That's why they're so screwed up. And they look to things that strongly suggest that they've given up on the idea of love, on the idea of ever finding something that will secure them. Well, why do you think I believe in God so much? All for people to shit on it. All for people to tell me, well, he's not real and you're fucking stupid. You don't know what's the glue, you don't know what's the glue, you don't know what's the glue that gets somebody through, you don't know what's the glue. And I look at women so sadly because it's like feminism. Feminism is what they turn to. They look at feminism like it's fucking glue, okay? They look at liberal policies like they're gonna fix something. That's what the shrink is for. You can't even fix yourself, 'cause you so often slam the door on anyone that tries to tell you things you so desperately need to hear. But that's exactly what you're running from. Anytime somebody questions your line of judgment, if you can even call it that, to judge something is suggesting that a person can think. And people keep talking about, well, critical thinking is impossible because emotion governs everything. I don't think that that's what it is, honey. Emotion. What? Women are on SSRIs. They can't feel shit. That's why they go into a state of rage. That's why they're so hysterical. And you know I don't want people to be locked in a cage all because they can't control themselves. They need to express it. That's seriously the solution to everything. What all this country does is repress. What this country needs to do is obsess. The way that I do. Then they can solve problems too. Well, lucky for you, I've been studying women all my life. And I'm telling you, the solution to the woman problem is self-expression, okay? Now, a lot of people don't like that because, you know, they don't want another Tori Amos. But Tori Amos is insanely talented. I think you're just jealous of the fact that you can't play two pianos at the same fucking time. I'm jealous of that too. I can't even play one at one time, okay? I mean, I'm able to focus better when I drive because I'm driving, you know? Did you hear that? That was funny, dude. That was really funny. Talk about focusing and then I get distracted. Yeah. I heard a noise. Okay, I heard a noise. You ever hear a noise? Maybe it's just my brain. Again. I'm not saying that driving makes me a good keyboard player. What I'm saying is that I'm able to focus when I drive. Like I'm able to just focus on this. Enough to commit to expressing myself in a way that only I seem to understand. Though I'm sure many of you somewhat do. Thank you. Appreciate you. Always and forever. Even if I don't address you personally. Don't take it personally. We had it and then we lost it. This is what's making that noise. Since they don't know themselves, since they don't love themselves, they do all these things to hurt themselves, so they're a shell of themselves. And it's really sad because that shell is all that I see, because all they do is stare at a screen. And that's really the problem, you guys. And people don't want to do anything about it. Because they don't want to open their eyes, because if they truly did, they would probably want to off themselves immediately. So I get it. You don't want to fully comprehend reality. And this is coming from me, okay? With my delusional thinking. Is it delusional? Say what everyone's thinking. They're too chicken shit to say it out loud. They're too chicken shit because they're just too proud to live in a world that's killing itself. I'm not gonna be ashamed things that I can't change. I'll be ashamed of what I can change, but I don't. I'll be ashamed of what I can't change, but I just won't, because excuses, excuses, excuses. See, I trusted this whole process of piano punk. Like, eventually it's going to make more sense than it does in the beginning. And when you take a risk, you see the precipice, and you jump off of it, regardless of how everybody calls you crazy. I'm used to it, baby. It's a pastime for me. It's a present time for me. A future time. What's the future time? Is there ever a future? Let me know in the comment section. I'm kidding. Don't. I don't care what your opinion is. I'm kidding. Tell me your opinions. I love your opinions so much. I keep strongly suggesting that if you have really great opinions, you should share them with the class. I can't possibly be a favorite person in the class, okay? Because I'm the honor roll student, right? I'd be the honor roll student of life. It's not a government school. It makes me drool. It makes me drool. Because I fall asleep. I drool sometimes. Not often, but sometimes. You know what's cool? This really isn't cool, but I just thought of this. My U.S. history teacher from junior high, or not junior high, junior year of high school. So I guess that's the third year. He got accused of sexual assault. He never sexually assaulted me though, because I'm a little too nuts. Or maybe I'm just not attractive enough. It's probably more the case. Because I'm a head case, got a head case for my head. That's why I studied it instead. I'm a book I read. 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 Over and over and over and over and over until I could get over things that led me misled. Led me misled. Interesting. They led me misled. Sometimes we say really stupid shit and we have to call ourselves out on it. Now I'm sure that I say other stupid shit that other people could call me out on. Or maybe I say shit that's obvious. I don't think I'm that deep for saying it. But a lot of stuff is really crazy because if it's obvious, it offends way more people. You know? Like if I say, yeah, women shouldn't have leadership positions because we're too fucking erratic. And you're like, but. Okay. Some women, very few, some, teeny tiny sliver of women, okay, I think could handle a leadership position. But that's because they have the brain structure of a man, all right? Women can do what men do. Men can do what women do. But it's not natural. And because it's not natural, it's like, why would you put them up to that? Why would you want that? Why would you convince her that she should want that? And this is the issue, is that people think like, oh, if you're not a traditional woman, you should like go out of your way to fight tradition, you know? It's like, I see the value of tradition. I see the purpose of tradition. I see that it's a really positive thing for society to have like established customs. And, you know, I mock that a lot. Like as a comedian, it just makes sense. You know, I'm an outsider, so I've always looked at American traditions like they were kind of ridiculous. You know, like Super Bowl, shit like that. You know, obvious Masonic, you know, ritualistic things that involve garnering the attention of the masses. Yeah, it's hypnotic. It's like a form of sorcery, you know? Is it enjoyable sorcery? You bet. You bet that's enjoyable sorcery. You convinced all these Americans they have a say in what happens in Washington. That's hilarious. They actually believe that. And now you got half the country hating the other half of the country because they believe that. Now I think that motherfucker about to take office again, I think the whole reason reason why they did what they did last time was to prove that they did it. And if you look at the numbers and you compare and contrast 2016, 2020, 2024, it's really obvious what happened. Okay? But I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. But I think at any given point they can just fuck with the election. I'm not saying they always do that, but I'm saying that like they can rig it if they want to rig it. It's within their power to do that. And so all this power that Americans think they have over the government, that's fucking ridiculous. And the gaslighting document called the Constitution has managed to convince people that they have rights all because of a bunch of old white men, okay? Sorry, I just thought I'd bring up that they're white. I still think it's like the greatest document. I think it's like a perfect way to run the country. You know, if they actually did it that way, if they actually abide by the Constitution, like yeah, it would be like a near perfect country. But the fact that this country's like our whole gimmick is fucking freedom, okay? And no, I don't want to be one of these white people that talks about this, but it's true, okay? We had slaves here. The left can't stop reminding us that we had slaves here. And you know, I don't think it's just about blacks. I think, or color. I think it's about enslavement in general. I don't buy the lie of America. So I've kind of created my own country in my head. I've created rules that I live by. And I try to follow those rules to the best of my ability. Sometimes I suck at that too, because I'm that much of a rule breaker. Or a rule bender, really. But, yeah, you know, I never fell for the lie of this country. Like, when I was going to school, I'd pretend to hold my hand over my heart. And I wouldn't actually say the Pledge of Allegiance. Because I don't pledge my allegiance to this place. And it's ridiculous that we would say that. We have these things that we repeat. This is why I don't like to say I'm conservative, because like all these conservatives, like they can laugh at the left for being brainwashed. Y'all are just as brainwashed, dude. You're just brainwashed from another side. You're brainwashed to repeat, you know, patriotic jargon as if that's gonna save you. As if that fucking AR-15 or that fucking whatever it is. I'm not a gun person. Whatever it is you got, it's not gonna save you. I mean, it might save you from a criminal, like an actual criminal wants to hurt you or your family, but it's not gonna save you from the government. You know, not when they got the technology that they got. But I think it's the ego of your average American that keeps this place from ever being great. Because if people actually utilize the freedom that they think we have, then wouldn't this be a way better country? Wouldn't people take it upon themselves to fix things rather than expect the government to do it? I mean, I know that there are examples of this all over the country. You don't hear about it because why would that information be put out into the public? You know, if that information ever came out into the public, it would be so censored it's not even funny. Because censorship has always existed. Long before Google, okay? People complain about it now because of Twitter. But the fact that so many people in this country don't have any idea that not everybody was on board with progress, okay? So all these different things that you read about in history book involving progress, they don't tell you about all the people that were opposed to that. Like, I remember in my McGraw-Hill textbook reading about the you-know-what, okay? Vaccines, quackscenes, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They take people out. They take people out. That's what they do. Well, I don't remember reading anything about people protesting that or being against that. In fact, all I remember was like maybe two paragraphs entirely devoted to modern medicine that eradicates diseases, okay? So invention was made, biological preparation for hell, I've already said it, biological preparation to combat said disease, and now all these diseases were eradicated all because of this biological preparation, okay? There wasn't any other information about it. And if you think about it, like everything in our society just, they don't give you any sort of room to question things, you know? We're just supposed to accept everything like, oh, this is just the way it is. This is just what we do. And that's why our whole society is so brainwashed when it comes to language. So, oh, well, I know that a few years ago I wasn't putting my pronouns in my bio. I wasn't telling people my pronouns, but now, because that's the politically correct thing to do, that's what I do. It doesn't matter if it's necessary. It doesn't matter if it's stupid as fuck. I'm gonna do it because that's what we do now, you know? So based off of the way that the textbooks are written, they don't want to encourage anybody to have critical thinking, so they don't want people to know that critical thinking was a thing, okay? There were people that were opposed to the polio thingamajig. There were people that were opposed to females getting the right to vote. There were people that were opposed to, like, the Industrial Revolution, okay? The Luddites. Okay, so I was told about the Luddites. I was called a Luddite because I refused to get a smartphone. But yeah, these types of people have always existed, but they don't want you to know, because they don't want you to oppose what they're doing, okay? So that's why we're shadow banned on YouTube, and that's why it's really hard to find my content, especially if you have a phone. It's easier to find on a PC. But, yeah, they've always censored the fuck out of everything. You know, that's just the way of the world. They gotta censor things, because if they didn't censor things, people would think that thinking is good. And, you know, that's obviously very dangerous.